I went from $10,000 per month to over $100,000 the next month after I quit dropshipping. That literally 10x my income. Now, if I told you I made over $100,000 per month every single month, I would be lying, but I still make way more than I used to when I was just dropshipping the normal standard way. And I assume by watching this, you're currently not making 10K a month, which is completely fine. The same principles still apply to you. And first, let me clear things up. Dropshipping is not a terrible business model. It actually helped me start various different businesses and was the first thing that I started to do properly online, which actually made me some decent amounts of money. Just nowadays, everybody has heard of dropshipping, both your customers and more people getting into the space. That makes it extremely difficult to make your first few sales. I started dropshipping back in 2018, once it was very untapped. Very few people ever heard about dropshipping before. The likes of Beer Heads were just starting to come up more and more, and I started seeing his videos. Back in the day, there were a whole different set of people who talked about dropshipping in a whole different way, showing you actually how to do it. The whole idea of Shopify as a whole with the old blue screen dashboard, sales coming through was completely new. And to be quite honest, the whole idea of dropshipping was pretty uncool. Now it's been made pretty sexy. Everybody in Dubai is doing dropshipping. Just simple things like the sales notifications, showing off screenshots. That means more and more people come into the space with more money. Now, one of the first stores that I did really well with was this Slushy Cup store. I started it back in 2019, just at the start of the whole pandemic when everybody was stuck inside. TikTok was also starting at the same time, and it was extremely easy to go viral. On my first video, I was sitting in my living room. I decided to go outside and make this video with this new silicone slushy cup that I was gonna shoot some product photos for. I just made like a simple slushy mix of this grenadine red mix and some water and poured it into a cup, squished the cup a few times, put a trending Doja Cat song or something in the background. And overnight, it did over 3 million views. My phone was blowing up with notifications. In my first day, I did over $1,000 in sales. Now, that wasn't my first brand. I did various others, the most memorable being a store called Space Cases, which stuck onto different walls. We used influencers to promote. We got a few sales, a couple $100, but I lost money in the end. Now, as time progressed, I made better and better brands. We were able to launch drone stores, a nutritional brand, and also a clothing brand as well. All did pretty well, but nothing really stood out and made me a fortune. They were all decent enough, around the 5 to 10K per month mark in net profit, but breaking beyond that barrier was something that I struggled with quite a bit. And for me to get to $10,000 a month took over 2.5 years of testing out various different stores on TikTok, and I was blessed with timing at the same time because in 2019, TikTok was just starting to become popular. More and more people were jumping on the platform, and in one of my fairly basic stores, I was able to generate over 3.5 million views in just the first video. Now, I was able to carry on that with momentum, doing 500K, 700K, over 1 million views for these organic videos. I was able to generate thousands of dollars in sales because of that. And simply when you're starting out, it's not impossible, just not as easy as it used to be. Now, these videos were pretty difficult to go ahead and make, but at the same time, I was running a reaction video page, which started to gain more and more traction. I was able to get 12 million views on one video. My phone was blowing up, generated over 30,000 followers on there, and then started shifting all my content towards reaction clips to satisfying videos, able to cross-promote my pages to go ahead and grow new dropshipping brands. Although it was pretty embarrassing, I learned quite a lot about making decent content, triggering the audience in a certain way, and even if you look back at some of my older videos on YouTube, I explain those exact steps of causing friction with viewers that still work today. Now, I used to make these at 14, 15 years old for whatever types of content. It would simply say something to trigger the viewer. It all started off by making these types of videos on TikTok where I used to react to satisfying clips. One of the main things on our slushy cup pages that I used to go ahead and react to was when they poured a certain drink. Let's say a bottle of water. So you go ahead and pour that into the slushy cup, and instead of water, I would say that's a weird color of Coca-Cola. Now everybody's engaging with the video and people just simply go past that now. This video in particular did 395,000 views. There's others on my TikTok which have done even more than that. Now don't go and bother and check because I've left those on private and they will never be released again. But that's how I really started off, making content, learning the algorithms further and further. But with a mix of TikTok, launching organic stores, and having a small influencer marketing agency, I was able to reach $10,000 per month in August of 2020. And I was able to do that in pure profit. The next month, I dropped all the way down to 3K. I lost a few of the clients from the influencer marketing agency and they went on to much bigger talent companies. TikTok organic started to die off a little bit. I needed to think of new content, new angles, new ideas for the actual slushy stores themselves and for the other products that I was running at the same time. Now, as the stores got better and better, more people got into the market. They saw how much people were making with these slushy cups. And especially nowadays with all the product tracking tools, the store trackers, and there's plenty of apps and softwares which do that, you're able to see when you're starting off a business what these stores are actually getting in terms of sales. But that means if you're doing well, everybody else is just going to follow the same pattern and copy you and do the same. Because at the end of the day, dropshipping is a sexy business model. More and more people are getting into it because of everything that's available online, the amount of information which is already there. And that's one of the reasons why I started to plateau. Now, if we fast forward a year later, I got a little bit relaxed, to be completely honest. I was in school at the time, not really doing much in terms of business, still making 2, 3, 4, 5K per month, testing out different stores. It wasn't a 5-year pure grind. There were certain things that got in the way. Dropshipping became harder. To be completely honest, 15-year-old me was like, this is over. It's time to get into the corporate world, back to the 9 to 5, and that's it. But inside of me, I could never let that happen. So in December of 2022, I launched my digital agency. I was able to start bringing more and more clients on board and eventually acquired my first business. Now, this changed absolutely everything. From growing dropshipping brands from ground zero, I actually bought an ice maker page on TikTok for just $500 that had a TikTok page, an Instagram page with a combined following over 500,000 followers. It had no store attached at all, but I was able to buy that business, build out a Shopify store, and actually flip that just in a month's period, and over doubled my money selling it for $3,000. I did this all through an escrow.com account, which is when the buyer pays into the escrow, I release all the goods back, and we both get paid out at the same time, him with all the logins and me with the cash amount. Now, quite truthfully, I thought this was a one-off, but attempted to do it again. I looked on TikTok and Instagram, and I came across this site called flipper.com. Now, Flipper is a big online marketplace to buy and sell online businesses. There's other ones like Acquire and Empire Flippers, but I saw a business on there that was currently making $3,000 per month, doing $11,000 in revenue, and they were trying to sell it for just $1,500. Now, at the time, that was still quite a big chunk of money because I wasted quite a bit on different trips, softwares, and businesses that never worked out. So I made this commitment in from the money that I made from the iStore and bought the business for $1,200. Now, by month 1, I already made all my money back and I attempted to relist again, but this time for $15,000. And within 2 days, I was sold for $12,500. Now, I started to rinse and repeat this method again and again by buying more and more of these small businesses and started to combine them into a small portfolio. I've had Shopify stores such as Shine Mop, which is a cleaning supply store, which I was able to buy just under $35,000 and sold it after all of the fees for just under $70,000 in less than 60 days. By upgrading the website further, building up a small web app for the page itself, and switching the supplier to increase the margin overall. The thing is, not many people actually go ahead and sell their store. They just simply press the deactivate button on the Shopify dashboard and then shut down the business and simply get rid of it. Now, going back to Flipper, the majority of businesses listed on the platform within the first 6 months simply don't sell. That means the owners are dying to get rid of it for whatever means possible. Even if they just get a small bit of cash, they're launching something else, or they need some money coming in. There's tons of reasons why an owner would potentially sell a successful dropshipping store. But the pricing of the stores right now, in most cases for a store under 12 months old, are under a 1x profit per month. That means if the store makes $3,000 per month, they're selling it for less than $3,000. And that's not even as a full cash price. You can use something called seller financing, where you go ahead and pay for the business by the business's net profits. It works pretty similar to an agency model where you can go ahead, enter the business, start working on it just like an agency. You're taking out a profit share per month, and part of that profit share is paid directly back to the owner. Now, you get all the logins, all the information, and the ownership before you even put down a single dollar. The thing is, if the owner is just going to simply shut down the store, now they're getting paid. And if they were going to take a huge lump sum cash, especially if they're from the US, Canada, or the UK, they're going to have to pay a capital gains tax when they sell their business. So by slowly releasing that money from the profit of the business, they'll be able to reduce the amount of tax that they're paying. Now, the biggest companies in the world, BlackRock, Deloitte, Vanguard, what do? They all have one thing in common, is that they buy businesses. And although it's probably one of the unsexiest business models in the world that is just commonly thought to be sitting in a corporate office, looking at numbers, spreadsheets, and running through different business acquisitions, I believe there's an absolute goldmine of an opportunity right now to buy these small digital businesses. Whether they're agencies, e-commerce brands, or even software companies, it's truly in the last 2 years changed my whole life. Right now, I'm living in Lisbon, and if I just turn around the camera a little bit further, you can see outside, hopefully, of a sunny day, 30 degrees right now. I'm able to be in an apartment, eat out all the time, travel almost wherever I want. And it's opened up so many different opportunities for me by meeting some really interesting people who've started these businesses, which we've eventually gone and acquired, and actually building up a small group of people who are looking to buy businesses and getting into these digital acquisitions and try to buy one for themselves. Now, my overall plan is to buy more and more businesses to eventually create a thing called a roll-up. Now, a roll-up is normally a collection of 10 plus businesses. They can be of almost any size, but ideally on the larger end, doing $1 million plus per year in revenue. And then eventually you have the exit potential of selling out. I think that's the goal for most people starting a business, to eventually sell it and have a huge cash amount. But by buying a business in the first place, you fast forward that huge time span of learning, of going through that grind period, and just skip straight to earning the cash from day one. And now if you want to go ahead and do the same for yourself, I'm going to leave a free training link in the top of the description of the video on how I acquired 12 businesses at 19 years old. So you can go ahead and watch that, and if you have any questions at all, just go ahead and DM me on Instagram and we can speak further from there. So what are you waiting for? I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.